The Department of Economic Development in KwaZulu-Natal has confirmed it has cancelled the hosting of the South African Music Awards, saying there are more pressing priorities that the government needs to fund. Until recently, the department was determined to host this glamorous event and even got approval from the provincial treasury. Economic Development and Tourism Affairs a spokesperson was meant to join us for an earlier interview, but for right now we're going to talk to Lesley Mofokeng, who is the spokesperson for Summer. And Lesley, good evening to you and welcome. So the recording industry of South Africa sent out a press release, and we understand that there is a great deal of disappointment around this development. A, it is happening at the 11th hour. B, certainly no agreement for the rationale that's been given as to why this cancellation is happening. And C, a decades-long event, a staple on the entertainment calendar, no longer there. Just share with us your immediate reaction for the nation.
Iman, thank you so much. Good evening to all the viewers and yourself in the studio. Our initial reaction is really of disappointment as the South African Music Awards. We were blindsided by the announcement that was made this morning by our contracted partners, the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs in KwaZulu-Natal. So we are in disbelief about what has happened. We still have to have a negotiation. We have to still speak to our partners. We do have a 3-year contract with the department, and we need to chart a way forward. But what I can tell you is that the South African Music Awards are a resilient brand. We have not been around for 29 years for nothing. Not even COVID could stop us. We have staged the awards under the most tremendous, the most testing conditions. Because of what we do, we love what we do, we love the industry. We want to honor the musicians that give so much of themselves to us. And they are really at the pulse of our culture as South Africans. So our initial reaction is one of disappointment, and but we are not backing down. We will make sure that South African musicians are honored in a way that's befitting their stature.
So what do you say to the reasoning given behind this move?
To be honest with you, we haven't received a reasoning, as you put it, from our partners. That is why we say that we were not privy to the decision before it was made. And we are hoping to have a time with them to discuss this further and to understand the decision, what led to this decision, because it was not made we were not taken into their confidence. So we would love to hear what led to this, but most importantly, as to what the future holds for us, because, as I said, we have a 3-year contract with the department.
So, okay, given that there are some contractual, provisions that are present and some, contractual obligations that are present, what's going to be the next move? I know that you want to get to the bottom of the reasoning around this, but just map out for us what you and, other members of RISA and Summer are planning to try and really get to the bottom of this and ultimately get to a position where the Summer Awards can go ahead.
Well, I mean, we spend the day today coming to terms with what has happened. We're in long meetings trying to understand what happened and what can we do, what's going to be our reaction, really. And we've issued a statement that explains our position and the fact that we didn't see this one coming, and we sympathize with the industry. I can tell you now that there's been an outpour of support from the industry. A lot of musicians have expressed their feelings of disappointment, and but we remain hopeful that we'll get through this. So we still have to speak to the department. We still have to sit as RISA and the board of RISA to determine a way forward. We remain committed. We remain devoted to the cause of celebrating South African music. We are disappointed that the musician always gets the short end of the stick. Whenever we talk about cutting costs, tightening the belt, it's always the creative industry. It's always the creatives that suffer the most. And we ask that the government and the society, the general South African society, give the industry what it deserves.
Yeah.
We contribute to the GDP. Hosting the summers in KZN was not just a party. It was a contribution to tourism, it was a contribution to hospitality and many other ancillary industries that get to benefit with the numbers of people that were going to descend in Durban or to the entire province, and make sure that there's an injection of actual cash into the province. So it is a real big disappointment for us.
All right, Lesley, thank you very much. Lesley Mofokeng is the SAMA spokesperson. I don't know if you want to kind of listen in the background, but we are going to bring on the Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs spokesperson, Ndabezinhle Sibiya, to just, again, share with us exactly why this decision was made and to respond to some of the sentiments that you've just heard from Lesley Mofokeng about being really disappointed and the missed opportunity in terms of the economic spin-offs for the province. So welcome to the program, Ndabezinhle. Nice to have you with us. Maybe we go back to, some of the core reasons as to why this decision was made.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. First and foremost, let me greet the viewers at home. And our hearts, are with the creative industry. And we know that they were looking forward to the summer 29 hosted here in KwaZulu-Natal. And we were looking forward to welcoming more than 4,000, visitors to the province of KwaZulu-Natal. This morning, the MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, sponsored Duma, conducted a press briefing where he announced that this postponement of the summer 29, and we remain committed, to working with the recording industry of South Africa. My brother Lesley, we've been working very well with him, and he's still going to be working very well with him moving forward, because we've got that 3-year contract which he has, highlighted, and what has happened over the past few weeks. We've been, engaging with the provincial treasury. We've been engaging with other, key stakeholders, and everything, associated with some awards, especially the procurement processes associated with some awards, were above, board. We want to confirm that, and we subjected ourselves to the leadership of a provincial treasurer who advised us on, how to, comply with procurement processes, and we are happy with the manner in which, they advised us, and as we speak, they agreed to, sponsor the summer awards, with about 20 million excluding VAT, and unfortunately, after consultation with key stakeholders, a decision was made to not to host the summer awards this year. But there are discussions that will be taking place with RISA involving the Department of Economic Development, and other key stakeholders.
Right.
And another issue that
before you move on, just again to just go back to what I asked, which I think you answered a lot of things around. What was the reason given? If the price tag had tentative approval, you met all the T's and C's, what was the reason given for postponing or shelving it?
Well, I think there are a number of issues. Number one, the MEC, as he indicated, we decided to, rechannel our energy and focus on other key, service delivery issues. For instance, if you look at the economic conditions, we want to cushion, vulnerable members of our society against the negative economic conditions. There are issues around, food insecurity. That is why, the MEC announced that, there is some focus on, assisting, vulnerable members of society in the townships and rural areas, to access, some interventions that are going to be provided by government. Then number two, it is unfortunate, it is a reality that, which Lesley highlighted, we saw some elected public representatives, especially from, the Action SA and other political parties that, tried to scandalize, the summer awards. It is unfortunate that an impression has been created, by those elected public representatives that, the creative sector, is the sector that must be, disrespected, and an impression has been created that, there should be no focus on this sector of our economy, but we remain, focused, on intervening into all sectors of our economy.
Can I just ask you this before I let you go, Ndabezinhle?
Yeah.
Is that 20 million that was earmarked for this now going to be redirected to social projects related to vulnerable communities and food security? Is that why you can't hold it? Because that money is going to go there.
Well, I think that's the issue, to say we commit to service the 3-year contract, but the decision that has been made, on the basis of advice from provincial treasurer, is that let us focus on, the vulnerable members of society that are exposed to food insecurity. And
all right, so if the money is not going to be directed there, why can't you just do both things?
Well,
because as they're saying, it contributes hundreds of millions to the local economy through tourism, hospitality, and so on. It could be a money spinner. If the money's not going to be given there, can these two things not happen simultaneously?
Yeah, we speak one voice with RISA in terms of the injection into the provincial economy, 350 million that is going to be injected. That is the language that we've been speaking. But obviously, there have been some other forces opposed to, what we want to do in terms of resuscitating this sector of our economy. And I think finally, the people of this country are now aware that there are some sections of society that do not believe that the culture and creative sector have some form of
who intervention. Is it? Who's put a gun to your head?
We all know that Action SA has been at the forefront, for the cancellation of the summer awards. We all know that they,
Okay, so you've given into political pressure. I'm so sorry I'm pressing you for quick answers. We're at the end of time. So this was the political pressure that led to this decision then?
We are saying there is some sections of society that believe that the creative sector do not deserve special attention.
Okay.
It is a reality. We are reiterating our point that, as we move forward, we will be working with the recording industry of South Africa and the creative sector to resuscitate this sector of our economy.
Okay, going to leave it there, and thanks again for coming on. We appreciate your time.